So over the years of shooting, I have learned that I must be the luckiest person on earth. Because if you listen to the internet, Korean Glock mags are absolute garbage. They don't work ever, and they'll likely turn your gun into a hand grenade or something, which I've made a couple videos talking about those and how well they work for me and how well they've always worked for me. Also that Korean AK mags are junk, even though they work for me always. How steel case ammo is junk, even though it works for me always. And now, of course, if you look at the internet and there's anything, and if it's a Glock page or anything like that, you will hear likely that Glock triggers and Glock sights suck. Now this is my Gen 2 Glock 19. This is the same gun you've seen in all of my Why Glock Suck videos, because they don't, where I've buried it in the dirt and ran it over with my truck, where I've beat it into a snowdrift, and where I've done multiple, I couldn't even tell you how many drills I've run with this gun, racking it off the heel, racking it off the belt and off the holster, things like that. To the best of my guess, I stopped keeping track years ago. This has somewhere around 20,000 rounds through it, and you've seen it get thrown in mud, the whole 9 yards, the whole thing. The only thing that's ever broken on this gun is the trigger spring, that little tiny double hook spring, that little $2 spring or whatever it is. Now, needless to say, Glock triggers and Glock sights don't suck. This is something, normally the guys that say this are the guys that have that Glock with like the aftermarket barrel, aftermarket slide, mill cut slide, either completely like a Polymer 80 frame, or they've done so much work to the frame with a Dremel that it's unrecognizable as a Glock frame anymore, and so on and so on. Different triggers, different connectors, the whole 9 yards. And there's people out there that are always going to say that Glock sights and Glock triggers suck. Now, here's the problem with it. The problem with it is you take new guys, you take new shooters, and I've seen this multiple times on Glock Facebook pages and things like that. Somebody posts their brand new Glock. I love it. Got my first Glock, haven't put a round through it. What do I need to do to it? Well, something has happened in the gun community that makes them ask that question. What do I need to do to it? Nothing. You need to do nothing other than run ammo through it. Go to the range, go get some training. That's all you need to do to it. But inevitably, the answers on that picture are get a new trigger, get new sights. Well, what we're doing in the gun community is overwhelming new shooters. New shooters do not want to hear that I just bought a $500 gun, probably a holster to go with it, maybe a few boxes of ammo, and now I got to spend $200-300 more on sights and triggers. That's not what they want to hear. They did not get in. Most new shooters did not get into shooting because they want to have hundreds and thousands of dollars wrapped up in it. They want to learn what they need to learn. They want to carry a gun for protection, and that's it. It would appear that, according to the internet, this is not enough. The function, the ability to sight, to have a good sight picture, and a good reliable trigger squeeze. Apparently that is not enough. Now, with tens of thousands of rounds down range, having trained multiple people, having to use my pistol in a defensive situation in real life as well, there's two things I've never heard out of anybody that has ever been in a gunfight. Number one, they didn't like the sight picture, and number two, they didn't like the trigger. If you train, if you practice, if you put rounds down range, and you get good quality training, that's the big thing. You can't just make up something on your own, go to the range, and be like, oh, I got training, because normally you end up with bad habits that you just build upon that bad habit as time goes. But get good quality training, get some rounds down range, and that 5 pound, 5.5 pound, 6 pound Glock trigger doesn't matter because you're proficient with the firearm. Now, if you want to get new sights, you want to get a new trigger, that's one thing. But for you new shooters out there, there's a whole lot of people I'm not talking to right now. But for the new shooters out there, don't let these internet people lead you to believe that you have to get a new trigger and new sights for your Glock to be a good gun, because it's just plain old not true. So in short, according to the internet, this pistol, my Gen 3, stock sights, stock trigger, stock connectors, according to, oh, and Korean mag with steel case ammo, according to the internet, this shouldn't function at all, and I shouldn't be able to hit a thing. Let's test that theory out. I must be the luckiest man on earth.